Good afternoon. I hope that everyone's family's doing great and everybody's staying healthy. Feels good coming off a bye week. I thought our guys played a hell of a game a few weeks back, finding a way to finish and doing whatever we needed to do to help the Chiefs win. And I thought it was a great team victory. I thought our guys played hard, we played fast, and we did just what we needed to do to find a way to come across the finish line. Now, after that, coming off a bye week, it feels good. Guys are fresh, mentally refreshed, re-energized. Now it's time to get ready for a big opponent who's doing a hell of a job of playing hard and playing fast on the defensive side of the ball. And I know our guys are excited to face this opponent. With all that said, I'm all ears.
Let's go first to Sarin Petro. Go ahead, Sarin.
Coach, just the overall, first of all, the victory lap, we've kind of heard everybody else talk about it. Just your thoughts on the Raiders and how much press that's getting in both towns that they took a lap around in their bus after the game. I'm curious if you've ever done it, and then Brad, I'll have a follow-up.
So I'm honestly just hearing about the victory lap, and it doesn't mean anything. You guys got to understand, I was raised in this division. I played with the San Diego Chargers back in the day, so we understand what the AFC West is all about. Now, maybe the bus driver took a wrong turn and had to just circle the stadium, but none of that matters. It really doesn't shape how we're going to prepare or do anything different. The only thing that we need to know is to make sure that we're mentally and physically prepared to go out and play a 60-minute hard-fought battle. And I do know this: if our guys, all right, are allowing their personalities to show, and they're playing hard and they're playing fast and they're being accountable to one another, we'll give ourselves a chance to have a chance.
And then protection-wise, they really got after Patrick a lot with four guys and had to pressure him. Why did they seem to be so effective without having to bring extra people?
Well, I just thought they played. It was obvious they played better than what we did. And at the end of the day, kudos to them. They did an outstanding job of coming in here and doing what they needed to do. I've said this before: we got exactly what we deserve. Now it's up to us to make sure that we're mentally and physically ready for the battle in which we're about to face.
Let's go next to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach. Good afternoon. Sammy Watkins obviously put in his first full practice yesterday, first time since week 5. How did he look to you? You mentioned refreshed earlier, but I'm just curious, does he have any rust in there? And Brad, I'll have a follow-up after this.
You know what? Sammy looks just like Sammy. He came out, he did some good things, and it's good having him back out there. Just the chemistry of all those guys being out there, communicating with one another, working together, on top of that, competing to make each other better. But, it's a good addition, having another piece of the puzzle back healthy. He should be fresh and ready to go.
And of the wide receiver core, obviously Mecole Hardman, his status is kind of iffy for this week on the reserve COVID list. But if Tyreek Hill is called upon to return punts, what are some of the challenges of balancing what you want to do offensively, knowing that one of your key pieces might also have to return punts?
You know what? We're going to do whatever it takes to help us to win. So I know this: Tyreek he's done it in the past. He understands the challenge that he'll be facing, and I'm actually kind of excited. What better opportunity for him to steal another moment of getting the ball and doing what he does? Hell, I'm gonna get my popcorn as well.
Next to Harold Kuntz. Go ahead, Harold.
Well, yeah, get your popcorn ready, Coach. That's exactly right. I just want to ask you about, you've mentioned before Patrick Mahomes being a, quote, competitive prick, to use your words. And he said yesterday that all that work that goes into preparing for this game and how it burns him that they work so hard and then to lose. Have you seen more of that competitive prick, even more so than usual this week, considering that you guys lost to the Raiders?
Every single day. And here's the thing: it shined after that game, it shined before the game, but that's who Pat is. Pat is very, very competitive. He wants to be the very best at everything that he does. And one thing you got to understand, not just about Pat, but one thing that we discuss here, and I think our guys, they really have a great feel for this and they understand this, okay? In order to appreciate winning, you have to despise losing. So what does that mean? We have to do everything, all right, leading up to that game to make sure that we don't experience that feeling. So what does that mean? That means we got to study a little bit more intense. Okay. We got to make sure that we're being fundamentally sound with our proper footwork. It could be recognizing a coverage, okay, from Pat's point of view or from a receiver point of view. Then when it's all said and done with, making sure the effort and the attitude is where it needs to be, and we're flying around and we're matching and outplaying their energy and their effort and their output. So that's what it's all about. It's making sure that we're doing everything under the sun so we don't have to have that feeling of emotion of disappointment when the game is all said and done with.
We've got time for a few more, guys. We'll go right down the line. Adam, Pete, and then Haley. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Eric, wanted to get your perspective as someone who not only has coached for a while with Andy, but also played for him for 1 year, right?
Yes.
Why do so many guys like playing for him? And Brad will have one quick follow-up as well.
You know what it is? It's about the consistency in who he is. Coach Andy Reid is the same man that I've ever known. Okay, he's a loving father figure. All right, obviously he's a great husband. He's a great parent, but he's also a great head coach that makes everyone feel like they're the most important piece of the puzzle. And I think that's very important because one thing it demonstrates leadership. It's making sure that everybody feels that they have a part of what we're building and what we have done. So those are the little things that just adds up to big things, because when it's all said and done with, not only as coaches, okay, but players, training room staff, equipment, so on and so forth, the building wants to make sure that we're doing everything under the sun to make sure our coach is one of the most successful coaches in the business.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but your year with him, you were basically a special teams player.
Yes.
How did he make you, in your words, feel like you were the most important piece of the puzzle? How did he do that with you?
Put it this way, I share this with you. I was offered to stay with another team, an enormous amount of money, and I decided to go and play for Philly for the league minimal. And league minimal, during that time ain't nothing compared to what it is now. But I will say this. When I went on that trip and I visited the Philadelphia Eagles, I felt at home. I felt a part of something. I felt a part of a building block that was necessary to help them to start it off. I was a part of a foundation that coach wanted to lay. And so I'm very proud to say, hey, in 1999, I was a part of the Philadelphia Eagles. Why? Because that foundation started something very special, and it just continued to improve each and every year, brick by brick and step by step.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, B, this question is pretty unique to what would be 2020, but I mean, you, Patrick, and Andy are this dynamic trio and really attacking defensive weaknesses. And then flash across the screen yesterday, there's 6 players added to the COVID list, including a couple defensive starters. How does that alter your preparation? Is it back to a little bit more of older film work? How did you guys take that news?
You know what? You don't change anything. You don't deviate from the norms, because one thing I do understand is that Coach Gruden is a hell of a coach. He's going to do whatever he needs to do to get his team prepared and ready to play. Coach Gunn, their defensive coordinator, he's the same way. So they're going to continue being exactly who they are. Our job is not to allow anything to be a distraction, because the only thing we want to make sure of that our guys have a complete understanding of the game plan, and that we go out and execute it each and every day as we prepare for this Sunday. And then that's going to give us the opportunity and the confidence to go out and play the way we expect to play. So regardless of what's taking place, I hate that the fact that, that they have to do that and what has taken place because of what we're living in. And no one wants anybody to get sick and get caught up with this virus that we're all dealing with. But when it's all said and done with, we just want to make sure that we're at full strength, they're at full strength, and the chips will fall wherever they fall.
We'll go last to Haley Lewis. Go ahead, Haley.
Hey, Coach. It seems like Mahomes really can't help himself from breaking every single record. And right now he's on track to be the only NFL quarterback to get 40 touchdowns and fewer than 5 interceptions all in the same season. Right now he only has one of those. And of course it came against the Raiders. I was wondering if you guys have talked about the fact that his one interception this year came against the Raiders, and if you think that there's really any record that Mahomes can't break.
You know what? It ain't anything that we've discussed. One thing about Pat takes a tremendous amount of pride in studying and preparing. He knows exactly what took place and what happened in that game, and he understands that he threw an interception in that particular game. But when it's all said and done with, we just want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to help us as a team to be prepared to handle what's about this upcoming opponent. And when it's all said and done with, that's all what matters. And I guarantee you, Pat will tell you the same. We're not going to treat this game any bigger or any lower than any other opponent. We understand the Raiders are playing very damn good football. I have the utmost respect for them. But when it's all said and done with, we just got to go out and play Kansas City Chiefs football, let our personalities show, and make sure that we're being accountable to one another for 60 consecutive minutes.